You're gone again on me. No.
Roscommon
Okay, we'll start.
16, Dublin 122. So the 6 in a row Ireland champions have made a winning start to the 2021 Division 1 South. I'm delighted to be joined by former Roscommon player Shane Curran to look back on the game. Shane, Dublin led by 6 points at the end of the first water break, and from there on in, they were never really troubled.
No, I suppose, look, they weren't really troubled any stage in the game. Maybe I think apart from Gerard Murphy, a chance where the Roscommon attack got in behind the Dublin defence for the first and only time in the game. We didn't take that chance, but it was always just a matter of time. I think Dublin were, I'd say, in neutral. I don't think they even got into first gear. Roscommon were extremely passive, particularly in their defending in the first half. I think in the second half they tried to pick it up a notch for certain segments of the game, but couldn't sustain anything. And Dublin were just, I think, anytime Roscommon got a score, Dublin just went down and played through the lines very, very easily, very quickly, with a mixture of hand passing off the shoulder and running and kick passing that was accurate. And their full forward line and the ball winners caused us trouble. Players coming off caused us trouble. And I think for the fact that they missed 2 penalties, it could have been a lot worse, and a lot of questions, I suppose, for the Roscommon management, a lot of questions for the players. But we got to understand as well that we're talking about 2 teams at completely different levels, and one trying to get there, one trying to keep ahead of everybody else, and probably will do for the foreseeable future. I don't see much stopping them. They were playing at their ease. In a game that was, in my view, very, very, very passive, and very benign, I suppose, really.
Yeah, they started with 10 of the team that won that Ireland final last December against Mayo Dublin, but it was one of them players that didn't start, Cormac Costello, that really kind of stood out. He's been around the panel for a long time. We know about him since he's probably about 20, 21 years of age. 110 for him today. Probably would have been 2-9 really with that penalty end. On another day, if the game was still in the melting pot, he was very much impressive, the Whitehall Colin Kills man.
Yeah, very good player, to be fair. But it's the system in which Dublin play. I think a lot of players can really play well in it if they understand it, and the speed at which they play. To get it to skillful players like him, they can finish, and they're just tremendous athletes, and the way they move the ball, I think they have a system that, and they have an athleticism and an energy about them that very few teams can live with, and unfortunately Roscommon are not at that level. I think some of the things they tried were pretty good, but there was no sustainability to it. And I think we have to learn from if you're pressing, you press together, you press as a team. We were pressing kind of sporadically. We were pressing in small pods, but not enough. And when Dublin played out through us, then we weren't recovering, and I think that's an issue for Roscommon to address. But on the Dublin side, like the Costello, Kilkenny, they're just very, very good footballers, and Fenton in the middle of the field just held his ground. He didn't do anything spectacular today, but Roscommon couldn't get out through him on kickouts either, and thus the problems you have when you don't get first phase or second phase possession often enough. Teams like Dublin will punish you.
Yeah, they had a couple of newcomers that came into the team. As I mentioned, the few late changes from the throw in, the likes of Michael Sheehan and goals, Tom Lavelle, Sean McMahon, Darragh Mullen would all be relatively new names to most people. Which one of them kind of really stood out the most for you from a Dublin point of view?
Yeah, look, and I think I'm always looking probably at the goalkeeping situation. Not much changes in Dublin. It doesn't really matter who they have in goal anymore, really, as long as they're pretty competent. Whether it's Evan Comerford or Shield today. Kick-out strategies are basically the same. They're so athletic out the field, they lose their men very easily. In Roscommon's case today, they just stood off them, let them play through them, so there's no great skill in getting off the kick-outs. When they did push a small bit, he came under a little bit of pressure, but not much either. And when they went long, they could pick out and Fenton around the middle of the field. And McMullen, I thought, was a good player, absolutely. They brought in a new lad there at the back end. And a red-haired guy that's been around McHugh around quite a while. He was around the Dublin under-21 team for quite some time, and he's a decent player. But the game was just so benign. It was so. I think Dublin were just running in players. Philly McMahon was ran in there for a few minutes, giving guys breaks. They know probably what their best 25 are. They probably know now what their best 21, 22 are. And between that 25, 26, 27, there's 6 or 7 of them fighting to get into that 15 to 21. So, if not into the team. So that's the kind of strength and depth that they have. And as I said, they have a playing and athleticism and professionalism, and that's above everybody else, in my opinion. And teams like Roscommon have to try and close that gap. I think today you've seen that stuff again that we're repeating for the last 3 to 4 years. To be fair, our kick-out strategy is almost non-existent. When we go long, we get outnumbered on the break, and when we go short, our play and methodology of getting the ball through the lines is too slow. So we're not retaining enough. I think you need to be retaining 80 to 90% possession from your kickouts, and you certainly need to be coming up 50-50 on the long ones. And today, Roscommon, I think we're beaten hands down on the long ones, and on the short ones, Dublin just maybe gave them 1 or 2 handy ones, but we didn't retain the football even when we had it there. We either kicked it away loosely or were turned over a number of times in the first half. That I think the first one actually led to the first penalty. So these are things that have to be addressed. I know Stephen Poacher is in there now, and he'll probably be looking at the defensive side of the structure. But we really need to address how we get first phase possession from kickouts, because any team now studying Roscommon will look at that as an Achilles heel in around the middle third. And it's not necessarily the goalkeeper or the players outside. It's a matter of getting that system correctly, or having a number of playbooks and an encyclopedia of systems that can help them, then for them to figure out which one is the best for them. But continuing like this against the likes of Mayo, even though Galway at the moment are not in a great position, they're still strong enough around the middle third. Teams will turn you over, and you'll be susceptible to losing the ball, losing possession, and conceding scores if you're not getting that possession.
Yeah, I still think, like, maybe if you look at it from a positive point of view for Scotland, I suppose, like Curran who we would regard as probably one of the top forwards in the county. Like, it's the first time we've probably seen him properly in action since 2018. He scored 6 points today, 4 from play. Donny Smith showed well, 6 points. Most of them were kind of frees. And if you were to maybe a little bit kind of critical as well, one area Roscommon maybe could have capitalised more. It took Dublin 12 minutes in that second half to score. Like, Roscommon could have, Dublin were never going to lose the game, but they could have put a little bit more pressure on. Yes, they won that third quarter, but only 3 points to 2. They didn't do enough. They actually didn't even score from play in the second half until the 65th minute. So definitely even more areas of concern there for Anthony Cunningham. Just, I suppose, finally on this one, Shane, some of the new rules, we've seen some of it brought in today with 2 penalties awarded for Dublin for black card fouls by Brian Stack in the first half, Fergal Lennon in the second half. It's still something that's going to take quite a while getting used to.
Look, I don't know where, when these people sit down to address rule situations, do they actually talk to players or managers or bring people in and have a discussion about this and toss the good ideas in and toss all the ideas in and come out with some ideas that might make a change? But we're beginning to bastardize the game in a way that's almost, it's not actually a game I recognize in many ways. The rules around the penalty, I think Brian Stack penalty was kind of in or outside the square. Okay, that was kind of, given, maybe some days it'd be given, some days it'd be a free. But the Fergal Lennon one was just, it's crazy to see that type of thing ending up as a penalty, particularly when there's players coming in on the cover. It's not like he's through 1-on-1 with the keeper with 40 yards to go, and I don't know where they dream these things up. The mark, I know that it's just something I've never liked. Now Dublin, to be fair, made good decisions with the mark today, and in the first half I think they got 3 successful scores from it. But it's not Gaelic football. Gaelic football is a fluid, flexible game, and in many ways the mark takes away from that. I don't mind it from the kick out. I think that's fine. Because in the old days the guy that actually caught the ball was penalised by being hammered when he got to the ground. But there's no need for a lot of these rules, and I think they need to revisit a lot of the stuff that we're seeing. And the purists, I think Gaelic football, has evolved brilliantly, but the rules actually haven't helped it. It's the coaching, it's the players, it's the way the game is played. It's a very expansive game now. It's played very fast. There's some great scores in it. So I just don't like these rules that I see today, and particularly the first one, the first penalty. Yeah, okay, look at. You can argue that's inside the box, it's outside the box, it's on the line, and it's yellow, it's a black card. The second one, to give a penalty for that, I don't know what's the game turning into. You know, I mean, you know, I understand it from the point of view of professional fouls and cynicism and all that, but it's not a goal given chance on the end line with cover players coming in. So where they pick up this, it's almost like gone like bloody VAR in soccer. It's gone so perverse in wanting to control certain aspects of the game that have been there before. So no, I'm not a lover of it. I just don't get it at all.
Please don't say it's going to end up like VAR in football or in soccer, this new rule, but there's no doubt about it. It's definitely going to cause more headaches and controversy, I think, between now and August. Shane, thanks, Anthony, for your time today.
Thank you very much. Good stuff. Bye-bye.